What is going on, everyone? My name's Boyd and I'm back with some more Age Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color playing as Odin. His name is GrandMonster. His opponent today in the red color playing as Loki. His name is Swissboy. It's currently 1-0 in this best of 3 series for GrandMonster. This is the Champions League, and these are some pretty strong players here. Swissboy going for a little bit of counter god action, if you will, picking Loki into Odin. It's not 100% a counter god, simply because Odin can kind of overwhelm Loki early, and then also Skadi counters a lot of what Loki wants to do in the mid game. And not only that, we're also on Watering Hole and pushing off things like this gold mine. It's going to be really difficult if we check out the map layout here. The large gold mines, they're actually really bad for GrandMonster if it wasn't for this gold mine. Because this one's here, it's going to be really tough for Swissboy to get some value flaming weapons out. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. Relics on the map here, if they're going to matter, we do see a Black Lotus has already been spotted there for GrandMonster. But I think while this relic is great on this map with this matchup, probably not going to see a lot of value out of that one. If you're building farms in this matchup, you're probably losing. We have the Blue Crystal Shard here, which as you guys may or may not know, it's a bit of a funny relic. Giving 5% extra bonus onto gather rates tends to not give that much of a bonus, if anything, because of the way the animations work. So if you can have a look here on this gatherer, actually, let's look on the gatherer here. You can see he gets to 9 gold, and then he has to do another full swing to get up to 10 gold. So it's actually, even though the swing rate is like 1.5 or 1.7 or something every time he hits the rock, it's not quite that at all, because it's actually an extra swing after that in order to get to the 10 gold. So if you get the Blue Crystal Shard, it's not enough of a bonus to actually make those swings reduce or anything like that. So that's kind of how it all works out, and hopefully I've explained that about 1,000,000 times so far. So I can explain it 1,000,000 more times, and everybody can laugh at me in the comments section. So good. I'm glad we went through that, and we see Swissboy with a relatively forward temple here. This could be, well, this is an indication of a Heimdall rush if I've ever seen one. It's actually not a bad map for it, to be honest. Simply because this gold mine's only got 1 sentry tower here, and he can come in, Heimdall that, and it should be fine. But the temple is really actually quite far away. I would have liked to see him sneak in here onto this location here or something like that, because that's kind of where where GrandMonster's going to want to get some hunt from. And the other thing is, while Loki Heimdall Rush is pretty good against Thor, I feel like against Odin, if he just sort of bum rushes the main base here with all of his Ulfsark, he can actually overwhelm the Loki before any real myth units get spawned. So if he can get a lot of those early Ulfsark out, he can push through this and do a lot of damage. We do see Heimdall is coming through, but it's 340 advance or 440 advance time here. So we'll see how that goes. Villagers are popping out now, going to be eating some more gazelle. The Herser are going to be moving forward, but GrandMonster eating all of his rhinos nice and early. He's got a lot of hunt in his base, but I think this hunt is quite far back. We are seeing houses moving up. The Raven is going to be flying over here. Will it spot this location here or not? It's going to spot the house at the very least. Is going to spot a couple of Herser here, so that could be enough information for him to know what's coming. There's the Freya for GrandMonster. We see a longhouse coming down here. Valkyrie going to be moving out and going to be immediately tasked to move towards Swissboy's base. And one thing about the Heimdall rush here, with the temple so far out, you're not going to be able to defend against this Valkyrie. And we do see Swissboy being very intelligent here, going to be moving this Herser back to his home base here and going to look to protect either these gatherers or something over here while these guys are moving forward. There's the Heimdall for Swissboy, immediate longhouse coming down Einherjar coming out as well. Villagers just about to wrap up on that rhino. There's this other rhino. I'd love to see him move these villagers kind of safely over here. But we do have a very aggressive longhouse here, even though he knows that the temple's here. A little bit of overconfidence possibly. Maybe GrandMonster has seen the Heimdall rush time and time again and knows what to expect here. We check these upgrade the population out. It's 42 population for GrandMonster, 37 population for Swissboy, and the Ravens are now scouting around. The villagers moving up to this top location over here, and the Valkyrie sitting idle down here, about to move into the to the base of Swissboy. And obviously he wants to leave the Hearse over on these gatherers, but then he's also got to worry about his home base. And there's the army starting to move in. Like I said, going to be trying to pick off these houses. Every house he picks off is absolutely huge. We do see a raiding cavalry coming out for Swissboy. That is a question mark moment if I've ever seen one. And now he's going to be losing the houses here. We can see that Swissboy is sitting above pop cap here, so he's not going to be able to get any myth unit spawns here. We do see the Einherjar blowing the horn there. Nice micro pulling back for the majority of that bonus there. And Swissboy is able to pick off a couple of her. So while this is all going on, but GrandMonster's micro gone fairly well. Nice focus firing from Swissboy though as this one's going on, but still no myth unit spawn as this is happening. He gets a troll spawn, which is actually very troll indeed. It's just not the best one. Any of the other two would have been better. And GrandMonster still trying to push through this, and he's picking off a lot of those Herser. He still has one more Herser to pick off this other troll, and these other two Herser fall without another myth unit spawn going to be coming up. It's going to be really difficult. GrandMonster should be able to then push in and kill off this house here and keep Swissboy on the back foot. Unfortunately for GrandMonster, not attacking with his Valkyrie during that fight. Little bit unfortunate. He could have gotten a lot of kills there, because if you can get your myth unit attacking while your opponent is like busy focusing, you can get some pickoffs here. But because nothing's kind of going on right now, Valkyrie can move in. With the units hitting this longhouse though, it will mean that he's not going to be alerted to the Valkyrie attack, to the raid. So that's a one little trick you can do, because if you hit someone, there is the siren that goes off, and we do see that Swissboy not paying attention to this one at all as this is going on. We see the forest fire coming, which is going to be a big alert for Swissboy. Does lose one villager there, about to lose a second one if he doesn't garrison it in, and then going to be starting to move over into the dwarves. So Herso now coming in. We do see the fighting happening yet again. A bunch of throwing axemen are going to force GrandMonster back for the time being. Houses still getting picked off for Swissboy, is above pop cap right now, or below pop cap right now, I should say, but just not able to continue being aggressive as he's just losing all of his buildings. He has to move backwards as this is going on, which is not something we want to do. He's still just building houses coming back. It's sort of times like this where you got to be like, all right, my initial attack has not worked out correctly. I'm going to have to come back to my base, cut my losses, and see if I can make something happen with the massed army in my base and push out with those Einherjar, because we do see he's got a little bit of favor in the bank here. 43 favor in the bank to make Einherjar, and Einherjar are really good. This army here would never beat. If you can get two Einherjar out, and the Loki army just becomes really, really strong. We do see that the Valkyrie has managed to snipe that Ox Guard there. I think it took a lot of the hits from a Rhino there, and GrandMonster just taking advantage of that. And Swissboy starting up villager production as well. The Herso moving back in, going to be trying to pick off those Ulfsucks. Nice micro pulling back, still picking off more houses here. And we can see that Swissboy is going to be at 55 population cap there. Just to GrandMonster is up at 88 here, so 61 to 88. So this is absolutely huge for GrandMonster. Is just going to keep trying to just steamroll through Swissboy, and the Ulfsuck now coming over here, going to be picking off more, or the entire army, I should say, just taking everything down here. And Swissboy going to be punished pretty severely for this. We do see the Valkyrie coming back in to try and harass even more. We've got this this is a hilarious name, Theodoft Refreshing Beverage Lost. Just chilling over here trying to defend. You can't really chase the Valkyrie around, and it's just a little bit of a pain to deal with there. The rest of these buildings with Swissboy getting picked off now, trying to build out more throwing axe, but a lot of villagers are onto the wood here. He needs some more villagers onto onto the gold mine if he can. Trying to get up another longhouse here. And we'll see if it can get up or not. Well, he needs to get up a temple. Basically, that's all he needs to do. He needs to get up a temple, get up Iron Yard, and he may be able to fight this. He's already got watchtowers up, so he can sit in his base for a little while here. He's got 400 gold left. He's got a back gold mine over here, which is probably not defensible if GrandMonster just walks around here and then sits on it, but he does have a back gold mine, so it is a little bit of a trek for him to get there. So we'll see what can happen. Swissboy is getting his medium infantry, basically just building throwing axemen at this point, which he does need to do. He needs to get those throwing axemen off to snipe any Hearser, and then the Iron Heel can just tank everything else. We do see the villagers now moving back over onto the wood here. So Swissboy just going pure wood. See a town center now coming up for GrandMonster. I wouldn't be surprised to see him just going through Skadi here. Just to iron his victory, because if he can get out Frost Giants, the Iron House span is completely countered, and instead he's going for the town center here, which, I mean, I don't think it's going to delay him that much in the grand scheme of things. And we do see the army of Swissboy looking to move out at this point. I'm not sure if he realizes how huge GrandMonster's army is compared to his, but it's just definitely not enough without anything else. There's the armory coming up for Swissboy. I'm not sure if that's just because he has the resources or whatnot, but definitely not going to be going through Bragi anytime soon, because he's got 472 wood here. The Valkyrie now coming in, picking off even more units. GrandMonster's control of this Valkyrie in this game has been out of this world. So many pickoffs here. There's still a couple of really low HP gatherers in this wood army here, but the Valkyrie does get picked off, and we will be probably seeing Skadi coming through now for GrandMonster, who is advancing. He's got 25% Skadi mining from this back gold mine while this is all going on. We do see Swissboy coming out to defend against this longhouse coming up. These villagers going to try and start eating the hippopotamus here. And more longhouse coming in now for GrandMonster, who's doing his darnness to finish this game off, but Swissboy not just throwing in the towel just yet. Temple going up nice and forward. I'd love to see him just delete this temple to get an immediate Frost Giant on his front here. We see the Ravens get sniped there by the medium throwing axeman. There's no upgrade into the... actually, it doesn't make sense to get it. I'm not even going to say it because I've thought myself through. It's not EE. EE is different to Vugli. But there's the temple here. We don't see the deleted temple here. The Frost Giant's going to have to walk all the way over here. We see immediate Frost Giants starting to get built out, and we've got heavy infantry on the way already for GrandMonster, so that's going to be absolutely huge. 25% on the way. The throwing axemen's fighting, and we do see an immediate frost here. No Bragi on the way, so it's looking like GrandMonster is just content with this, going to be able to move in and just completely pick apart this army, potentially put a wall around the back of it, which is going to be thrown up straight away, preventing any sort of retreat here. We do see an undermine here, but this is not going to do enough damage to take down the temple. We see a hill fort starting to come up as well. There's the heavy infantry, and we just see how throwing axemen are going to be delaying this wall, but I think all GrandMonster wants to do right now is just prevent food coming in for Swissboy. And the undermine did almost enough damage to take down the temple, but did not pick it off. Now the army of GrandMonster coming in for another surround to just prevent the army of Swissboy getting away. Lots of units have already died, and Swissboy in this moment does decide to tap out. GG, well played by GrandMonster. Nice defense of the Heimdall rush. I think Swissboy just advanced way too late. A big thing that happens in these Norse wars is if you advance late, you simply just don't have the units to fight your opponent because they get set up earlier. It's not like they're behind on the economy or anything, so there's no real advantage to going up late in these Norse wars. You want to try and get up 420, 430 at the very latest. 440 is way too late, and Swissboy was punished because of it. Didn't make any iron here either in this one, so really struggled to abuse Heimdall here, and unfortunately for him, he does lose this one, and GrandMonster wins 2-0 and gets his first win in the tournament, so it's going to be really happy about that one. If you did enjoy these games, please rate them on the YouTubes, hit the subscribe button, and if you're on the Twitch, hit the follow button. and we will get another game coming very soon. So hang out and wait for that one.